In a small apartment, a man named Aiden had just woken up from his sleep. He quickly got up to clean himself before starting his daily activities. Then, when Aiden tried turning on the TV, he noticed that every channel was broadcasting an emergency alert. He also briefly saw a helicopter that suddenly fell and crashed into one of the buildings. In the midst of this chaos, a man named Brandon, Aiden's neighbor, suddenly came into the apartment, saying that he only wanted to take refuge there because his roommate had begun acting strangely and had even tried to attack him. Soon after, a news anchor announced that the entire city had been thrown into turmoil by a mysterious virus outbreak resembling a zombie-like contagion, which caused red-eye symptoms and could spread rapidly through bites or scratches. After hearing the announcement, Aiden realized that Brandon had already been infected because there was a bite mark on his neck. Therefore, Aiden immediately drove Brandon out of his apartment, and the unfortunate man was instantly overwhelmed by other people who had already been infected. Frightened by all that was happening, Aiden felt stressed because he had no idea what to do next. However, after receiving a message from his parents telling him to stay put and survive there, he decided that he would try to hold out as long as possible so he could reunite with his beloved family. During the first week, Aiden seemed able to cope with his isolation by watching several news broadcasts from other countries, which described the nature of these zombies, and he also tried making a few vlog entries about his day-to-day life in this new reality. Aiden mentioned in one of his recordings that he didn't see anyone else in the apartment building. By the fourth week, Aiden could already see that this zombie virus had spread throughout the entire city, and when he heard a strange noise coming from behind his door, he became anxious that the zombies might break into his apartment. Not long after, he realized that the water in the building had stopped flowing, and he began to lose control of his thoughts, growing even more stressed. He tried to entertain himself in various ways so he would not lose his mind. As usual, when Aiden was making his vlog, he suddenly heard a peculiar sound. Without noticing it at first, it turned out that one of the zombies had managed to enter his apartment. Without hesitation, Aiden quickly fought off the zombie. Then, after throwing away the zombie's body, he promptly sealed off the ventilation shaft above his toilet. In short, after 2 months of surviving in his apartment, Aiden tried to contact his family to see whether they were still alive. But upon hearing a voice note from his mother, it turned out that his entire family had been attacked by the zombies. This reality devastated Aiden, as he would no longer be able to see his family again. His anger at the situation led him to try going outside the apartment to confront a few of the zombies roaming around. However, because there were too many of them, he was forced to run from their pursuit and barely managed to get back inside his place. Not long after, the power in his apartment suddenly went out, and apparently the blackout spread throughout the entire city. This only added to Aiden's stress, as he missed his family and his beloved girlfriend so much. The next day, Aiden began thinking about ending his own life because he no longer felt he had any purpose. But without realizing it, he accidentally saw a beautiful young woman who was also still alive in the apartment across from him. That discovery reawakened his spirits, because it turned out someone else had survived besides him. Aiden then summoned the courage to greet the woman by writing on a piece of paper, and she responded by introducing herself as Eva. She said she had been surviving alone in her own apartment in the same way Aiden had been, and she also mentioned that she still had plenty of food supplies, though she was running out of drinking water. That night, when Aiden realized it was raining, he immediately used the opportunity to clean himself, as he had not bathed at all since his water supply had been cut off. The following day, Aiden and Eva resumed communicating by exchanging notes on pieces of paper to avoid attracting the zombies roaming around the area. Aiden suggested that Eva catch a baseball he had tied to a string so he could give her some of his drinking water supplies. Suddenly, one of the zombies seemed to hear their faint voices, and it began climbing toward Eva's apartment. In a hurry, Aiden tried to save Eva by distracting the zombie so it would move in another direction and end up climbing into Aiden's place instead. Then Aiden told Eva to go inside her apartment, and once the zombie managed to enter Aiden's place, he immediately struck it with his baseball bat. At that point, Aiden realized he could not continue to survive indefinitely just by staying cooped up, so he mustered the courage to go outside to look for additional food. After getting Brandon's apartment key, he quickly went inside that unit before more zombies could appear. He took all the food supplies he could find there, but all of a sudden, a zombie slipped in and attacked him, forcing Aiden to defend himself. After defeating the creature, Aiden carefully made his way back to his own apartment without drawing attention from the many zombies hovering nearby. Besides taking food supplies, Aiden had also managed to grab 2 walkie-talkies, which he could use to communicate with Eva. He planned to come down from his place to give Eva one of them, and after successfully tossing the walkie-talkie to her, he rushed back to his apartment to hide from the horde of zombies outside. The next day, just as Aiden woke up, he received news from Eva through the walkie-talkie he had given her. From that day forward, they often chatted about various things, including whether they had ever dated anyone or not. Every day they spent time talking and sharing stories from their past, making them grow fond of each other. Eventually, when Aiden's food supplies started running low, he planned to enter another apartment through the ventilation system to search for more provisions. There, he was startled by a zombie that no longer appeared to be moving. After a long walk, Aiden cautiously descended into one of the apartments to survey the area. Feeling it was safe, he opened one of the closets and discovered plenty of food supplies. When he told Eva what he had found, she grew worried and begged him to be careful because she did not want to lose him. In addition, Eva mentioned that she planned to climb down and then make her way to Aiden's unit so they could survive together. Meanwhile, Aiden heard a strange noise and saw that the apartment door was blocked by a refrigerator, much like what he had done in his own unit. That indicated someone else had also been barricading themselves in this apartment. Aiden tried to check it out, and without warning, an older man approached him from behind wielding a spear, threatening him because he saw a wound on Aiden's hand. However, after Aiden explained he had not been bitten by a zombie, the older man believed him and apologized. He revealed that he was not the original occupant of that apartment, but had come from somewhere else. When he found this place stocked with an abundance of supplies, he decided to stay. To welcome Aiden, the older man prepared some food, and they started talking about how they had survived the zombie outbreak. The older man said that they should not eliminate any zombies unless it was absolutely necessary, because there was a chance that scientists out there might find a vaccine one day, which could cure the infected, including the loved ones people had lost. Hearing that, Aiden agreed, for he also had people he dearly cared about, his parents and his younger sister, and now he felt he wanted to protect Eva as well, since he had begun to like her. The older man then invited Aiden to take some of the available food, knowing Aiden was almost out of supplies. However, just as Aiden was about to grab one of the provisions, the older man suddenly hit him from behind, causing him to lose consciousness. When Aiden woke up, he realized he was tied up inside a room, along with a zombie who turned out to be the older man's wife. Apparently, the older man planned on using Aiden as sustenance so his wife would not starve. Aiden pleaded for mercy, but the older man refused, not wanting his wife to perish from lack of nourishment. It seemed the older man had done the same to the previous occupant of this apartment, then taken all the provisions to sustain himself for as long as possible. At a moment when the older man let his guard down, Aiden managed to free himself, causing the older man to be bitten by his own wife. Unfortunately, the older man's shouts drew a horde of zombies to the apartment, prompting Aiden to hide in the adjacent unit. There, Aiden discovered that Eva was surrounded by zombies, which had broken into her apartment. Seeing that, Aiden had no choice but to go down to rescue Eva. He grabbed a shotgun and tried driving away the zombies, but because they were too numerous, he climbed toward Eva's place using the rope Eva had previously set up. Once he managed to get away from the approaching crowd, he told Eva to descend to the lower floor. When Eva finally made it down, she immediately hugged Aiden tightly. Originally, they planned to quietly escape from the apartment building. However, because the zombies eventually noticed them, the two decided to sprint as fast as they could to evade the group. Then, just as they were about to enter Aiden's apartment, he was momentarily attacked by one of the zombies. After making it back inside, Aiden told Eva to stay away from him, worried that the zombie might have bitten him in the stomach. Aiden then prepared to jump from the apartment, which made Eva very sad. because she did not want to be left alone again. Aiden also knew from experience how stressful it was to lose the people you care about, having felt that despair before he met Eva. But when Aiden lifted his shirt, he realized the zombie's bite had not actually penetrated his skin. Both of them rejoiced in relief at this discovery. They then tried their best to barricade the door so the zombies could not break in, and once the danger had passed, they decided to remain in the apartment for as long as possible, hoping that someday rescuers would come to save them. That was where the film concluded. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, because by subscribing you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.